So today we're going to take a deep dive into The Flame in the Cauldron, a book of old style witchery by Orion Foxwood. It's this book here. This is the second time I've actually read this one. This is a poetic and deeply mystical exploration of the spirit of the craft, what it means to walk this path with authenticity, devotion, and a connection to the unseen world. It is a book that I think every witch should personally have on their shelf, simply because it reminds us of old witchery. And I think we tend to get a little lost in the modern sometimes. Orion Foxwood has a distinct way of writing that it feels like you're sitting at the foot of an elder, listening to wisdom that has been passed down through generations. This book in particular is a reminder that witchcraft isn't just something we do, it's something we are, something that burns within us like a sacred flame. He quite literally speaks about the witch flame and the witch blood in a clear and concise manner, explaining that the enlivening of the witch blood is often recognized by a sense of feeling that we can, or we may have a connection to the natural forces that flow through our world. So I actually want to read a couple passages that's related to that specifically, if I can find it. Nope, that's wrong page. Let me start with this one. Both Elsie and I had, by the time we met, taught many people seeking the ways of witchery. Nearly all our most talented and tuned-in students had experienced in their childhoods what we had also experienced, as well as many other symptoms of what we recognized as the witch blood throughout their lives. All reported that they felt driven by an inner force which held like or felt like the memory of something they knew but could not quite reach, to find a way to understand and grow it into their lives. Many of the students have stated that they simply had no choice. It was who they were even before they could find a name for it and before another person living it could instruct them. Very much the type of feeling and sensation you get, but also, where did I want to start with this one? I think it was here. It may take many interactions with many witches for the fullness of the witch blood to awaken, or it may take the touch of one strong witch. This aspect of the journey is unique to each witch, but if it is the witch blood that is awakening, this force will attract or what it needs to grow. I just want to emphasize that, when we're talking about the witch blood and the witch flame and the witch fire and all of this stuff, it's not something that kind of instantly switches on and happens. It's often, it can be, but it's often usually a progressive thing. I think if we're kind of told that, the witch blood is something that all of a sudden switches on, you know it, and therefore you are a witch. If you don't feel it immediately, you're not a witch. I would not be sitting here talking about this stuff now, because it took a very, very long time, years, for me to actually get to that stage. But before we go on, let's actually talk about the author. So Orion Foxwood is a well-known figure in the world of folk magic, witchcraft, and spirit work. He's born in Virginia. He was raised in the Appalachian Mountains, where he was exposed to southern folk magic and the traditions of root work and conjure from an early age. His background also includes deep involvement in traditional witchcraft, fairy seership, and other esoteric traditions. Foxwood is the author of several books, including The Candle in the Crossroads, The Tree of Enchantment, The Mountain Conjure, not The Mountain Conjure, but just Mountain Conjure, and Southern Root Work. He is also the founder of the House of Bry Fairy Seership Institute, an organization dedicated to the study and practice of fairy seership and the deep mystical traditions connected to unseen realms. His work often bridges the gap between practical folk magic and the deeper mystical and initiatory aspects of the craft, which is precisely what he does in The Flame and the Cauldron. So, what is this book about? This one here, this is the one we're talking about, just in case you've forgotten in the last few minutes. At its core, this book is about this old style witchery. Not as a set of kind of external practices, but as more of an internal calling. Foxwood describes witchery as something ancient and primal, a force that has always existed and that we must learn to rekindle within ourselves. The flame in the cauldron, or the flame, the actual flame that we're talking about here in the cauldron, is a metaphor for this inner fire, the deep connection to magic, spirit, and the unseen world that makes witchcraft more than just a series of rituals. The book dives deep into what witchcraft really is, beyond all the modern labels and trends. It's about the essence of the practice, not just what's popular right now. Now, Foxwood also explores the power of the unseen world, touching on spirit contact and working with otherworldly beings in a way that feels both ancient and deeply personal. And because of his fairy seership side, that would be considered something natural, I would say, to bring into this book itself. One of the key ideas in the book is about an internal shift when you stop just practicing witchcraft and you actually start really, really, truly living it. And of course, Foxwood weaves in a lot of traditional folklore and old world magical wisdom, particularly from Appalachian and European traditions, which adds a real depth to the book itself. It's like stepping into the past while also feeling the magic alive, as you might feel it today, for instance. Foxwood's writing is, as I said at the beginning, it's poetic, but it's also visionary. This is a book that doesn't just tell you about magic; it immerses you in it, making you feel the pulse of the unseen as you read. Foxwood, there was something I just wanted. Oh yeah, Foxwood himself actually says. This is on page 121. I think it's the last chapter. Probably is. Actually said himself, "It is my hope that the contents of this book have given you, the reader, insight into the culture, practices, and soul of witchery. There are many fine books in print that give historical, academic, and researched information on magic. I felt there were not enough books on the actual soul of it, however. I've also provided insights, information, and practices in forms of witchery that I have learned from my teachers and continue to refine." So it kind of gives it a really good idea of what the actual book is about. Now, one of the biggest strengths of The Flame in the Cauldron is its depth. This isn't a book about quick fix magic or spell a day formulas or anything like that. It's about what it means to be a witch on a soul level. Foxwood has a way of writing that speaks to the spirit, and for those who feel drawn to deeper, more mystical approaches to the craft, this book will likely resonate strongly. I actually just want to read something just to illuminate this. The the essence of his writing style. I'm just trying to get to page. I think it's page 9. Hold on. Yeah, this must be it. Let me just read from this paragraph. "I asked Elsie if the past witches and their witchery had been destroyed in the many inquisitions, and if we were simply recreating the deities and practices of the witches. She looked at me and smiled patiently and said, 'You cannot destroy that which was never created.' And further, 'The forms pass, but the witchery remains.' Over 20 years later, one of my primary teachers in the old ways said something similar. 'The witch reveres the gods who made men. As long as the face of humanity is on the face of the gods, including goddesses, you have not reached them yet.'" So, very illuminating. But another strength is the way Foxwood weaves together different traditions. His background in Appalachian folk magic, traditional witchcraft, and together also, whether said with fairy seership, allows him to offer a perspective that is both grounding and deeply esoteric. He brings forward old wisdom in a way that feels relevant and alive, and the book is just simply inspiring. Many readers have said that it rekindled their passion for the craft, reminding them of why they started this journey in the first place. It's a book that makes you want to experience magic, not just read about it. What might surprise many is the simplicity of the magic, which is described, but through that simplicity, the sheer depth and power behind the practices itself. Let's then now talk about some of the weaknesses. So, while The Flame in the Cauldron is a beautiful and inspiring read, it's not for everybody. If you're looking for a book with step-by-step spell work, correspondences, or structured rituals, for instance, this won't be the best choice. It's much more philosophical and poetic, which means it might not be the best fit for beginners who are just starting and need more practical and foundational guidance. Some readers have also found Foxwood's writing style to be a bit too poetic at times. His language is often metaphorical, which adds to the mystical feel of the book, but may make certain sections feel abstract or less structured. If you prefer a straightforward, instructional approach to witchcraft, this book might feel a little too dreamlike in its delivery. Personally, I didn't find this a problem. Even though the writing is immersed in metaphor and poetic inference, he does a great job, an absolute fantastic job of actually explaining the concepts he is trying to get across to the reader. So what others have said, so the reception of The Flame in the Cauldron has been largely positive, particularly among seasoned witch or practitioners who are looking for something deeper than the usual 101 books that we always find. Many readers appreciate its emphasis on the soul of witchcraft rather than just the mechanics themselves. One reviewer described it as a poetic and moving exploration of what it means to be a witch, not just what a witch does. Another called it a must-read for everyone who has ever felt the call of the old ways, but doesn't know how to put that feeling into words. However, as mentioned earlier, some readers found it a less practical than they had hoped, and a few readers noted that they wished it had more tangible exercises or ways to apply the concepts in a structured way. Considering the detailed step-by-step explanation of the rituals themselves, I'm not sure if they read the same book that I did, to be honest, because it's really, I mean, yeah, as I said, the rituals and the exercises are simplistic. They're very, very simple, but the depth of them is incredible. And the step-by-step approach, the way they're explained, is perfect. I mean, I don't see any problem with it at all. But just some final thoughts. If you're looking for a book that reminds you why you practice magic rather than just how to practice it, The Flame in the Cauldron is an excellent choice. It's ideal for experienced practitioners who feel disconnected from their practice and need a reminder of the deeper mysteries. For those who resonate with poetic, visionary writing rather than that rigid instructional text. And for anyone drawn to the spiritual essence of witchcraft beyond just spells and rituals. However, if you're completely new to the craft and looking for a practical beginner's guide, this probably isn't the best starting point. It's more of a book that you appreciate after you've already walked the path for a while. Much of the essence of the book, especially that relating to the Witchblood, is actually summarized in the foreword by Raven Gramassi. Let me just find where I put my marker. See, I've got all my little markers again. In the lore of witchcraft and witches, we encounter the theme of witchblood as an inherent quality. Such tales tell us that this blood arises from past mating with fairies or elven beings. Older stories speak of a unique occult property in the lineage that is passed from generation to generation. Outside of this old and curious lore, we find in modern times the concept of awakening the witch blood within us. In this light, we can think of witch blood as a spiritual lineage to primal ancestor connections to the spirit of the land itself. Beyond that is what fell from the stars and seeded the hearts and minds of those who became the witch, the seer, and the mystic. That was quite good. Kind of gone from the back to the front of the book, actually, through reading from when we started at the beginning of the show. So this book is, as I said, deeply mystical. It's evocative and filled with the old whispers of the craft itself. And there's a lot of sayings and quotes from Foxwood's old teachers, actually. This is a book that stays with you. It's stirring something ancient within you. It's if that's what you're looking for, then I highly recommend this book. But as always, you will find an Amazon affiliate link to the book if you would like to get your own copy. I do appreciate it if anyone buys through my affiliate links. I do get a small commission, which I use to get more books to review. So, have you read this book? If you did, what did you think of it? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this review, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more content on witchcraft, magic, and the occult. And that brings us to the end of today's video and today's review, and therefore this month's video. Until next month. Right, have a good one, and cheers for now. Bye-bye.